Welcome to the Dietitian Side Hustle podcast. My name is Katie Dodd, and I'm a nutrition entrepreneur. I spent 7 years as a side hustler before diving into entrepreneurship full time. Before making the leap, I was bringing in 6 figures through my side hustle. If I can do it, you can too. This podcast is for dietitians, interns, and students who want to be inspired to start or perfect the side hustle of their dreams. Let's do this. Welcome to the 70th episode of the Dietitian Side Hustle podcast, my 2021 income report. So if you have been around this podcast for a while, you may have just noticed that there was a new intro, and that is because officially, as of the time that I am recording this podcast, I am no longer a side hustler. I am a full-time entrepreneur. Now, 2 episodes ago, I talked about quitting my job. The last episode, I talked about my last day in my traditional job at the VA, and I am currently 2 days in to my first week as a full-time entrepreneur, and oh my goodness, you guys, I love it so much, and I am so grateful that I get to do this full time. So today's episode is a fun one. I've been looking forward to doing this podcast. My income reports, it's something I do every year since I've started this podcast. You can go back and listen to my 2019 income report. It was episode number 6. And then my 2020 income report was episode number 30. So I do an income report because I just think it is so helpful to see real numbers as far as like, what does business look like? As far as like, how much money do you make? How much money do you spend? What is your net income? And just seeing what's possible. You know, it just opens our eyes to the other side, the back end of business, and knowing what's possible. So if you go to my website, dietitiansidehustle.com, click on the blog section in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see a blog article called 2021 Dietitian Side Hustle Income Report. So I'm going to be kind of going over that going over that article. I'm going to kind of be reading it to make sure I don't miss any of the important details, because when I get excited, if you guys haven't noticed, sometimes I say the wrong words. So I'm going to be kind of going over this income report as I'm talking to you all. But if you are the kind of person where you like to stare at numbers, if that's easier for you, just know you can go to the blog and read this episode essentially. So 2021 has been my best year of business by far. Not only did I exceed my income goals, but I radically changed my mindset and was able to leave my full-time job. Holy cow. So I will say, and I've said this before, leaving my job was not part of my plans initially, but I am just so darn excited to dive into 2022 as a full-time entrepreneur. So let's talk about my 2021 Dietitian Side Hustle income goals. So my income goal for 2021 was $100,000. Initially, I was aiming for $60,000. This would have been double what I made in 2020, but I pushed myself to set more audacious goals. If you know me, I love audacious goals. If you are setting goals that feel safe, then I would encourage you to push yourself and set bigger goals. You need to be setting goals that scare you and make you feel like, oh my gosh, maybe I can't do this. We only rise to the level that we think we can. So if you push yourself to set even bigger goals, your likelihood of hitting them are even greater. And even if you don't hit it, you're still going to land a lot further. So, at $100,000 for my income goal, this would make my side hustle match the income of my full-time job at the VA. And if I'm completely honest with you guys, this goal, when I set it last year, felt so audacious that I really wasn't confident that I'd be able to meet this in the time I set. And you guys know I share my income reports with you. So when I set this goal of $100,000, I had this pit in my stomach of, oh my gosh, I might have to share with my audience that I didn't meet my goal. But then I reminded myself, that's okay. There is no shame in not hitting a goal. I think there's only reason, to doubt yourself if you just don't set big enough goals. So, and I want to give you guys some reference when it comes to setting that goal of $100,000 and why it felt so crazy. Number one, that is a goal for a side hustle, like a 6-figure side hustle. What the heck am I thinking? For reference, in 2020, I made $33,000. And in 2019, I made $7,000. So that's a jump, right? 7,000, 33,000, 100,000, like holy cow. Now, I will say that a ton of things changed for me and my business between 2020 and 2021. As with my previous year, the biggest change was my mindset. This year, I leaned heavily into investing in business coaching, and as you will hear throughout this episode as I share my income report, I invested a lot of money into my business, like a lot of money. But I will say, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be a full-time entrepreneur today had I not invested in myself, in my business. Okay, so how much money did I make? So my goal was to bring in $100,000 in 2021, and I ended up bringing in, drum roll please, $150,000. $150,000, guys. I can't believe it. 50% higher than my goal. The actual number was $150,045.56. Totally bananas. Where did this money come from? I'm a big fan of having multiple streams of income, and I categorize my income streams kind of into chunks. So for example, under courses, I have my course on my website, The Geriatric Dietitian. It's called Gaining Weight Made Easy. I have a course through Dietitian Side Hustle called Beyond the 95. It's a coaching course. And then I have my blogging accelerator program. So I have 3 different income streams just within courses, but I have it kind of lumped as one category. So again, remember that you can go look at this on the blog, dietitiansidehustle.com. Click on blog. It'll probably be, if you're listening to this recently, it'll be the first article. If not, you can find it. I don't have a ton of posts there. But breaking down where that $150,000 came from, courses made up 48% of my income in my side hustle last year. I made $73,710 in courses. Right behind that was affiliate sales, and this is where I sell other people's products and services and goods and make a small or sometimes decent sized commission. This made up about 16% of my side hustle income, bringing in $24,894. Next was ad revenue. Ads for my blog, The Geriatric Dietitian, brought in 15% of my income, so $22,981. Next was my coaching and my mastermind. Now, I backed away from doing individual coaching, but I was doing some one-on-one business coaching with dietitians in the beginning of the year. And then towards the end of the year, I launched my Blog Boss Mastermind, which is a kind of like a group business coaching program with dietitian bloggers who want to level up their online business. So this brought in 13.48% of my income at $20,226. Next, we have my ebooks. I have 3 ebooks that I sell on my website, and that made it 2% of my income, so about $3,000. Next, we have webinars that I do through Dietitian Central. I have some I do live, some that are available on demand, and that made up about 1.3% of my income at $1,980. Next, we have work with brands. I didn't work with a lot of brands, but I did bring in $1,320, so 0.88% of my side hustle income. Next is kind of a weird category, prizes from coaching. So my business coach, Greg Todd, as a part of the mastermind and community that I'm a part of, he does prizes that you can win. I have a boot camp that I participated in. When I finished the boot camp, I got $450. He also does, like, if you answer questions on calls, he has a spinning wheel where you can win money. So prizes that I won for being in my business coaching program is $1,100. And then finally, my last income stream is selling digital goods through RD to RD. And I made $798, so about 0.5% of my side hustle income. So that is the breakdown. And let me explain those categories maybe with a little bit more detail as far as like what's under each of those categories. So I mentioned my courses include, my Beyond the 9 to 5 coaching course, my blogging accelerator program, and then my Gaining Weight Made Easy course through the Geriatric Dietitian. For affiliate sales, I am an affiliate for a lot of different companies. These are companies that I believe in, programs, services, things that I've completed myself, and I refer other people to and get a commission if they join through my affiliate link. So I'm an affiliate for the SEO Made Simple course, the RD Entrepreneur Symposium, the Healthcare Business Accelerator program with Javier Carlin and Marissa Case. They are some of my business coaches. Smart Success Healthcare, my business coach, Greg Todd. I'm an affiliate for some of his programs. I'm also an affiliate for Amazon Associates through my blog, The Geriatric Dietitian. Tiny commissions, but still it's an income stream. And then other things, for example, like SiteGround, it's a website host, and some other small programs that I'm affiliates for and make, a little bit of money through. When it comes to ad revenue, I shared how last year was my first full year having ads on the website. I have ads on the website, The Geriatric Dietitian, through Mediavine. I've talked about them a lot on the podcast, so you can go back and listen to past episodes if you want to learn more about that. But I will say the way this company works is there's a 3-month delay from making the money to actually getting it deposited into your bank account. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later when I talk about my passive income report. So, I have 3 months worth of ad income this year that actually is going to be in my 2022 income report. So, I'll explain that later. So when it comes to coaching, I mentioned I was doing individual coaching at the beginning of the year. Now I'm just doing group coaching, and that's probably what I'm going to do moving forward. My 3 ebooks on my website's The Geriatric Dietitian. And I will say I also sell those through my food blog, High Calorie Recipes. I love the ebooks because I took the time to create them once, and now they sit on my website. Lots of people come to the websites, and I make completely passive income off those resources. I'm not doing any work. I'm not promoting them. They're just hanging out on the website. It's so cool. My webinars, I generally have stopped doing freelance work. What that means is I no longer work for other people. I do work within my own brand, my own business, because it makes me so much money. But I continue to do webinars through Dietitian Central for a couple of reasons. They were one of my first breaks when it came to side hustles. And I have a lot of loyalty to that company. I love the work that they do, providing really awesome webinars for dietitians. And honestly, I like doing the work for them. So I continue to do live webinars through Dietitian Central and make some passive income through webinars that are sold on demand. And I'm probably going to continue doing that into 2022. Not necessarily something I need to do, just something I like to do because I like the company. So next I mentioned those prizes from my coach, which is I feel like that's totally random, but that's also the cool thing about working with my business coach, Greg Todd. He likes to give away money. And I'm like, I want to be like that when I grow up. If you are in the Dietitian Side Hustle Facebook group at all, occasionally I do give away money. And it's really because I've seen this modeled and I think it's so cool. It's always fun. We like to win stuff, right? And also, from a business perspective, that is, I'm not an accountant, but, when you are giving away prizes or money, that can be something that goes into your advertising budget. So it can be a tax write-off. And then finally, digital goods. These are the things that I sell on Artie to Artie. Completely passive income, like those ebooks. They are something I made once and continue to sell them and make passive income. So this really is the Cliff Notes version of my income that I brought in, but I hope it's really helpful for you guys to, I say see on the blog, but hear on the podcast. So I want you guys to remember though, this is just my side hustle. I mean, I don't have a side hustle anymore, but the income report I'm sharing, this was just a side hustle. During this time, I was working a full-time job. And what was so cool about my side hustle is that it brought in more money than my full-time job. Like 50% more. And instead of working 40 hours a week in my full-time job, I spend well under 10 hours a week in my side hustle, sometimes way less. And I will say through the beginning of the year, it was much less. I would say 5 to 7 hours per week on average. Towards the end of the year, as I started leaning more heavy into it, I will say there were several weeks that were closer to 10. But, it's pretty amazing because it's not a huge amount of time, especially for the income the side hustle was able to bring in. So between my side hustle, where I made $150,000, and my full-time job at the VA, where I made $100,000, I made a grand total of $250,000 in 2022, which feels really surreal. So on the website, you can go and look at a comparison of my 2021 income versus my 2022 income. I have a little table that will show you kind of where I was making money and kind of you can look at how that shifted. For example, in 2020, I was doing freelance writing, so I was doing a lot more freelance work, work for other brands, other people, where I mentioned I don't really do that anymore outside of webinars for Dietitian Central. So this year I did no freelance writing because, if I write for my own blog, I'm going to make a lot more money than writing for other people. And, I did more work with brands last year than I did this year. I made more money in affiliate sales last year than this year, but this year I made way more money in doing like coaching and courses and obviously ads because that's a new income stream. So if you want to see a comparison between the two, you can go check it out there. And I'm looking at my website and I just totally noticed a typo. So I need to go back and edit that before I push publish on this article. So, in 2020, I mentioned my largest income stream was affiliate sales, followed by work with brands. Where in 2021, my biggest income sources were my courses, primarily the Blogging Accelerator program and affiliate sales. And I will say this was the result of shifting my mindset and working with business coaches to help me focus on my time and my efforts even better. Okay, so that was my income. Now let's talk expenses. We'd be remiss if we talked about income without talking about expenses. It costs money to run a profitable business. And this year, I will tell you, I spent way more money on my business than I honestly even made in 2020, which is crazy, but I will say I'm so proud I did. So in 2021, I ended up spending, drumroll please, $56,343 in my business. So that is pretty wild. For reference, in 2020, I spent $15,000 in my business. In 2019, I spent like $1,000. So that's a massive jump, right? So where am I spending the money? I'll give you the quick breakdown on that too. It was mostly on professional development. I spent $34,145, about 6%, 61% of my income went to professional development, including business coaching and courses. About 4% went to travel, so a little over $2,000 because we could travel this year. My podcast is only $165 per year. My website about $1,338. Different fees that I pay, these are like credit card fees. They're PayPal and Stripe fees. I mean, that's just part of business. You can't avoid it. But 6% of my income went to pay fees. 6% of my expenses went to fees. And that is $3,248. Advertising, and when I say advertising, I say that loosely because I'm not paying for advertising. This is where I am giving away stuff to dietitians in my communities. So I spent $418. Contracts, this would be affiliate sales. This would be me paying other dietitians to write for me, paying dietitians to do projects for me. One of the coolest things about making money is that I actually can pay other dietitians and give them side hustle opportunities, which is the coolest. So that made up about $7,296, about 13% of my income. Other resources, $4,465, and then other, just other was $2,824. And I can share a little bit more on what was in those categories. But what I really want to hone in on was professional development. So I spent more in professional development than I made in 2020. Remember, I made $33,000 in 2020, and this year I spent $34,000 in professional development. In fact, I spent $30,000 in a year-long business mastermind this June. So you guys, I have learned legit business skills and have transformed my mindset so much that I was able to leave my full-time job, which again is so crazy. And again, this would not have happened had I not invested in my business and in myself. So a little bit of a breakdown on my expenses under each category. So the professional development was mostly working with my business coach, Greg Todd, but I did, take some other courses. I went to some events. Travel, I went to Florida 4 times this year for business events, which was so cool to travel again. Running my podcast was pretty cheap. I just pay like $15 a month through Libsyn, which is my podcast host. My website, I did transfer my website to a new host this year because I got a lot of traffic coming to the Geriatric Dietitian, but it's still not that much money. Again, credit card fees, it's not really a fun expense, but it's just part of doing business. There's really no legal way around that. It's something we got to pay, like taxes. I mentioned my advertising budget was mostly stuff like promos for dietitians. I don't pay for any traditional advertising at this point. The contracts are so cool, being able to hire dietitians. And so I have an affiliate program for the Blogging Accelerator program. And then also I mentioned I hire writers and other people to do work for me. And I hope to do even more of that this year. So under my resource category, this kind of includes a lot of things like my keyword research tool that I use for blogging. So this is how I figure out what I should even write about for the blog. Thinkific is where I host my courses online. Flowdesk is what I pay for sending you guys emails. I have a Canva Pro membership. Canva is just like a design tool to make pretty graphics. I do pay for Food Blogger Pro. That's a really great resource for food bloggers to really learn how to it has to do with SEO and leveling up your food blog and all those things. I pay for Google Drive storage. I have a paid Zoom plan. I paid for Microsoft Office, video editing software, etc. And then in my kind of catch-all other category, this includes money that I spent working with my accountant. I'm actually getting my LLC set up to be taxed as an S Corp in this coming year just to save more money on taxes because I'm, moving into a higher tax bracket, making some more money. I did pay for someone to help me transfer my website to a new host. I do pay to host my ebook online. shipping costs when I send dietitians stuff from my advertising, right? I bought a new laptop this year. That was probably my favorite expense. Like I'm a cheap human, and I usually buy the cheapest laptops ever. And because we're getting to be the end of the year at the end of 2021, I had made so much money. I'm like, man, I'm going to be taxed a lot. I need to spend some more money and decrease my taxable income. And so I bought like a nice laptop. I bought it on sale and got a good deal, but I got a nice laptop. It was like the fastest, most amazing thing ever. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been missing out, like, and probably wasting my time waiting for my laptop to load. So anyways, great expense. And then also like I pay for my LLC. I have annual fees, which I need to pay soon. So anyways, that's kind of a breakdown of where I'm spending money. So I do want to take a minute to talk about that $30,000 in business coaching. Because it's a lot, right? And I will say, for those of you who are like, holy crap, Katie, we are side hustlers. What are you talking about? You don't start there at all. But I just want to show you guys what I did and what I got out of it. So, I did spend $30,000 on a year-long business mastermind. I'm halfway through this mastermind. And I hope that sharing this perspective helps those of you who are really struggling with seeing yourselves doing something similar. So I will say that as dietitians, like, we spent a lot of money to get this credential, right? Like, think about how much money we spent to go to school to become a dietitian, to do an almost year-long unpaid internship, right? We invested in school because, you knew that it would have a serious return on investment, right? Yeah, it would take you time to pay back your debt, but it is worth it. You now have the RD credential, and honestly, you probably wouldn't have the job you have now without your RD, and you certainly wouldn't have that credibility when you're speaking about nutrition. So I want you to think of this in terms of an investment versus an expense. When you invest in your side hustle, it's just that. It's an investment. It's not money you're never going to see again. It's kind of like, let's think of an expense. An expense would be buying a fancy purse. Like, maybe I went out and bought a Coach purse. That would be an expense. That is money I'm not going to see again, mostly because I have a few Coach purses and they are in my closet, and I will keep them forever because they cost so much money, right? That's an expense. I'm not going to make money on that. I've got a nice fun purse, but I'm not going to make money. It's kind of, and then we think on the flip side, we think of school. School was an investment, right? We spent that money because we knew that we were going to make that money back and then so much more. So this is what sets apart an investment from a plain old expense. An expense, you spend the money, it's gone, you'll never see it again. An investment, you spend the money, you're going to get it all back, but then you're going to make so much more. So I will say though, for investments, for any investment, you do have to be wise in what you're investing in, and you have to do the work. Otherwise, it's just another expense. But I want you guys to think about investment like school versus expense, buying a car, right? Buying a fancy purse, buying something that, yes, you have the thing, but you're not going to see that money back. So I want to give you guys kind of dive into that example of how that $30,000 that I spent was an investment and not an expense. Now, when I spent it, I will tell you, I had massive anxiety. I was doubting myself. I'm like, what am I doing? $30,000? That is so much money. That is how much money some people make in a year. And even after I joined, I think I had anxiety for about a week. Like, crap, what did I do? But here's the deal. I believed in my business coach. My business coach is Greg Todd, and I'm part of the Smart Success Healthcare Platinum Mastermind. I also believed in myself. I knew that I could do this. After investing in this mastermind, my mindset totally shifted. Like, I keep talking about how my mindset keeps shifting, but after this, it was like this radical shift. I continued to learn new skills to level up my business, and I will tell you, the month after I made this $30,000 investment, I had my first 5-figure month. Now, I have been trying to hit a 5-figure month on my own, like the entire year up until this point. But once I invested in this mastermind, I was finally able to hit it. And I will say, after our next in-person meeting in September, I actually had my first 5-figure day. Like, holy cow. But I also want to look at this another way. So the first 6 months of 2021, I made $34,000. After investing in my mastermind in June, the next 6 months of 2021, I made $115,000. Like, what a difference, night and day, right? So I hope you could see how this investment was a huge one. I invested $30,000, but then I ended up making $115,000. And you can say, well, yeah, Katie, you were making money anyways. But let's look back. The previous 3 months, I brought in $34,000, which still felt pretty cool. That was like as much money as I made the previous year in 6 months, right? But I was able to grow exponentially. My business coach talks about this a lot. He talks about the difference between growing gradually versus growing exponentially. And that's what investments can do. When you invest in a business coach in a course, you are learning from someone's successes and their failures, and you're going to have exponential growth, not gradual growth. So I hope that that's helpful, and I hope that makes sense to you guys, but this is really what I attribute to the big gains that I've had in my side hustle this year. So if you are not there yet when it comes to investing money, like, that is totally okay. I know that it's hard to invest when you don't have the capital up front, but you do need to make a decision. You need to figure out, do you want to get there the fast way or the slow way? Investing will help you get there faster as long as you are strategic and you do the work. But it's still 100% okay if you are not ready to invest in your side hustle. There's still plenty of money to be made, plenty of things you can do. I just want you to keep in mind, as you start making money in your side hustle, at some point, consider investing some. We want to use our money to make money. Okay, I'm going to hop off that little bandwagon. So I want to talk to you guys about what I actually, what was my net income, right? I talked about here's how much I made, here's how much I spent. Let's talk about what my actual net was. So you can do the math, but I'm going to do it for you. So I made $150,045 and I spent $56,343. So this gives me a net of, drum roll again, $93,701. So in case you're wondering, yes, I have to pay taxes on these numbers. The way I typically break down my net income is I take 30%, I save that for taxes. I take 20% to go back into my business, and then 50% goes to paychecks. I will say, as a reminder, whether or not you have a side hustle or a traditional job, we all pay taxes. There's no escaping taxes. So, I don't get bummed about how much money I have to pay to taxes. I get excited about how much money I made. So I want to shift gears now and talk a little bit about my passive income report. So my 2021 income report that I'm sharing includes all of my income and expenses for 2021. Now, these are the numbers that I'm going to be using as I file my taxes for this, fiscal year. But I want to take a minute to talk to you guys and break down passive income from the Geriatric Dietitian blog. So if you're not familiar with passive income, I'm going to explain it to you really briefly, but essentially passive income allows us to make money without exclusively using our time. Essentially, you create something once and you continue to sell it on autopilot. My blog does just this. It brings in traffic every single day, and as a result, it makes me money every single day. But I'm not actually working on my blog every single day, but I'm still getting paid. You can learn more about passive income if you go to my blog, dietitiansidehustle.com, click on the Side Hustle Ideas button, and you'll see a big button that says Passive Income, and you can learn all about it. But I want to talk to you guys about my monthly passive income report. I share this on social media, so on the Dietitian Side Hustle Instagram page and Facebook page every single month. And when I share my income report on social, I'm sharing how much revenue my blog is generating that month. But I want to clarify that this doesn't equal money in the bank that month. That's just how much money the blog earned in passive income. The main reason behind this is my ad revenue. So with Mediavine, it takes me 3 months to get the money I earned into the bank. So for example, in December of 2021, I ended up making $3,941 in ad revenue, but that won't be in my bank account. I'll get the payout on March 5th, 2022. So when it comes to ads, revenue is super high in October, November, December, but it's also super low January, February, March. So for my passive income report on the blog, I do like sharing the revenue earned each month versus money in the bank because all these months look so different. So I want to show like a realistic example of here's how much money the website earned in December, because it's a lot, versus if I say, in March, yes, I got paid, but that's not really how much money the blog earned, if that makes sense. So I just want to clarify, when I share my passive income report numbers, they're a little bit different than my regular income report, because my regular income report in this podcast is all about how much money was how much money I made, money in the bank. Where my passive income, I talk about money that was earned, some delays on when the money gets in the bank. So hope that's clear and not too confusing. So if you go to the blog, dietitiansidehustle.com, you go to the blog section and you're actually reading this income report, I have a table. I can't really read it over a podcast, but you could actually look at the breakdown every month of money that I earned for every month through 2021. Well, I will say, like, I wasn't tracking it from January to June. So I have like January to June all lumped into one. And then July through December, I share the breakdown of my income streams each month. So I have 5 passive income streams on the blog. I make money on my blog through ad revenue, digital goods, ebooks, affiliate sales, and my course. So my passive income on my blog that was generated in 2021 was $39,149. So again, you can go to my website and actually look at the numbers, see a table of how it's broken down, how much money I made in each category, and how much money I made each month. Just a breakdown looking at the whole year, while I made $39,000, most of it came through ad revenue. I made $32,874 through Mediavine. Then ebooks, I made $3,059. Then through affiliate sales, Amazon affiliates, I made $1,264. My course made $1,164, and then digital goods, I made $787. So, passive income is pretty awesome. Like, I absolutely love it that I'm able to make this money on the blog. If we look at it another way, if we look at passive income in terms of time, the average hourly pay for a dietitian, according to the most recent comp and benefit survey for dietitians, is $33.65 an hour. If I was trading time for money, I would have had to work 1,163 hours to make that $39,000 that the blog generated in completely passive income. So this would have been 129 hours per month, or around 24 hours every single week. Time away from my family, time away from building this business that I've been creating. And so you all know I love passive income. I love blogging. And this is the cool thing, is that my blog will continue to bring in passive income day after day, week after week, month after month, for as long as I maintain this blog. So if you want to learn more about how I help dietitians create blogs to generate passive income, be sure to check out my Blogging Accelerator program. I'm going to be launching my 7th cohort of the Blogging Accelerator program at the end of January of 2021. Sneak peek, I haven't talked about this yet, but at that time, I'm actually closing the doors to my program. I've never closed the doors. This program has been open up until now, but at the end of January, beginning of February, the doors will be closing, and it will be closed for probably a couple months as I revamp and continue to build out the program and make it bigger and better. Once you join the program, you have lifetime access. So those who buy in during the 7th cohort are going to get access to all the updates and all the cool stuff that's going to come in the next version of the Blogging Accelerator program. So sneak peek about that. If you're like, heck yes, I want to start blogging and making passive income, check out my Blogging Accelerator program. You can go to the website, dietitiansidehustle.com, click on I think it's under About. If there's a drop down, it says like blogging program. You can also find it by going to my coaching tab, and the blogging program's there too. There's a few ways you can reach out to me. I'll talk to you about it online. So, you guys, what does 2022 hold? Oh my goodness. So you guys, I am continuing to push myself outside of my comfort zone, like way outside of my comfort zone. I feel like every time I share this income report, I'm like, I'm pushing myself outside of my comfort zone, and it just keeps getting crazier and crazier. So I will say, if I ever find myself writing these goals and I don't feel some level of anxiety, then there's probably a problem. Honestly, I feel absolutely terrified to dream this big, but here we are. So I will say, initially my goal for 2022 was to make $500,000, $500,000. Now, keep in mind, in 2022, next year when I share my income report, this is not going to be a side hustle income report. Since I'm a full-time entrepreneur, it's just going to be an income report, right? So if I made $150,000 in 10 hours or less per week doing my side hustle, could you imagine what this coming year is going to look like if I'm doing it full time? So really, making $500,000 isn't too much of a stretch. It's not that audacious of a goal. So I changed my goal again, and my new goal for 2022 is to make $750,000 in my business. Again, It feels terrifying. But I will say, I know it's possible. I know that through the internet, this is a whole different world. There are limitless opportunities to make impact and to make money online. I know that I love serving. I love helping people, and I know what's possible. So I'm speaking it out into the world. My goal for 2022 is to make $750,000. So moving into 2022, I will tell you, I will continue to use money to make money. I will continue to invest in my business and fully intend to always have a business coach to push me outside of my comfort zone. 1,000%, I would not be here today had I not invested all of that money in business coaching. So this goal feels really audacious, but I got a plan. You can tune in this time next year and find out how the plan worked out, because I share my income reports. So there it is, you guys, my income report. I know this is kind of a long episode, but I hope this is helpful for you guys to see an actual picture of what it looks like behind the scenes for this business. As I shared in the previous year, I really hope that you feel inspired and have a better understanding of the financial picture of at least one dietitian side hustler. And I don't know about you guys, but I still feel like I'm just getting started. There are so many opportunities for dietitians, and the sky is the limit. So I have action items for you today. So, these are the same action items I had for you last year. If you listened to the episode last year, my question is, did you do these action items? If not, make this your year that you do it. It's really all about the goals, tracking what you're doing, and investing in yourself. So your action items for today is, I want you to set an income goal for 2022. Even if you're listening to this later, even if it's halfway through the year, just make a goal and write it on paper. So much value. Write it on paper and put it somewhere you're going to see it. I did a free goal setting for 2022 training in the Dietitian Side Hustle Facebook group on January 4th, 2021. So you can go to that group and check out the replay on the blog version of this podcast on Dietitian Side Hustle. I actually have the link to the replay. So you can go complete my goal setting training. It's a 30-minute training, and it has a workbook that you can go through and actually set some goals. Make an income goal as you do it. So next action item, if you are not already, make sure that you are tracking your income and your expenses. You need to know where your money is going. You need to know where it's coming and going. Very important. You can do this in Excel spreadsheet. I will tell you, this $150,000 I made this year is tracked in an Excel spreadsheet. Next year, I'm going to invest in QuickBooks. I'm going to make the leap. I'm going to invest in it. But track your expenses. RD2RD Marketplace has financial tracking tools that you can buy. They're made by dietitians. So when you buy it, you are investing in a dietitian and getting a tool that's going to help you in your business. In your last action item, you guys, I want you to invest in yourself. I want you to plan on having expenses for 2022. Now, I'm not telling you to spend $30,000 on a business coaching mastermind, but I want you to invest in something, okay? Whether it's a course, whether it's coaching, whether it's a resource, I want you guys to get a feel of what it's like to spend money, recognizing that this is an investment and I'm going to use this to make money. So you guys, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to today's episode. I hope that you start dreaming big, making plans, and taking action. And I hope that you make 2022 your best year yet. Take care, guys, and we'll chat soon. Thanks so much for listening, guys. If you are not a member of our Facebook community, be sure to head on over to Facebook and search Dietitian Side Hustle and request to join our group. It is full of dietitians and students just like you. And if you are ready to start your blog, to launch yourself into the online world, making money through multiple streams of income without seeing patients, be sure to check out my Blogging Accelerator program at bloggingacceleratorprogram.com. We are launching our next cohort soon. It is going to be so amazing, and I would love to have you part of it.